Today on Monkey Life, shocking news from Hananya's chimp group.
Tico just laid down on the platform. We now know that he actually had a heart attack.
Squirrel monkey Azzy experiences the great outdoors, but isn't sure she likes it.
She has moved somewhere completely new, so it will take her time just to get used to it and just to adjust.
And Twan's orangs have no problem solving a food puzzle. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
I think this one's a little boy, and I think that that one over there might be an older lady.
The park provides a home for more than 250 monkeys and apes from 20 different species. It's been an upsetting few days for Hananya's chimps. They're missing an important member of the group, and they're feeling the loss. Tico, the second in command, has died.
Hananya's group went out as normal. All of them seemed fine. Tico was running around, doing his normal display that he would do in the morning. And we're not sure entirely what had happened at the time, but Tico just laid down on the platform. And very quickly he, clenched onto a pole and appeared to be asleep. We now know that he actually had a heart attack. We don't know the exact cause of that heart attack, but what we do know is it was very quick, his passing.
Tico was a very significant chimp in the lives of all 19 members of Hananya's family. He was number 2 to Hananya and had close relationships with many of the others, including high-ranking female Cherry, mum to young Thelma. His death has come as a blow to the whole group and to the primate care team. In the few days since his demise, the other chimps have been quiet and subdued.
It's a bit unusual for them, and they're not really sure what's going on with things like the hierarchy, and obviously apart from the political side of it, they have lost a friend as well, so they're all a bit sensitive.
Tico arrived at the park 20 years ago from Israel, along with Hananya and 2 others, Shamak and Gypsy. He was smuggled from the wild and rescued from the pet trade by the Israeli government. When they arrived in the UK, the 4 young chimps joined Sally in the nursery and grew up together at the park. Later, Hananya, Tico and Shamak moved on to an adult group, while Gypsy went to the all-male bachelors. Tico settled in well into what was originally Rodney's troop, becoming a handsome, muscular, mature male. He was caring, popular with the other chimps, astute and aware of the group dynamics.
He was probably our most recognisable chimp because he was so muscly and he was such a healthy-looking chimp. Obviously, we point him out to the public as being the one that looks like a bodybuilder because he was so built up. He was very interesting. He looked very serious a lot of the time. He always had a very serious expression. But actually underneath that, he was a very playful chimp. And one of his favourite games was to run up and down, stomping his hands and his feet. And he would play that not with just with other chimps, but he would try and get that game with the staff as well. He was a great character and he was very gentle. He spent a lot of time with Thelma and those younger individuals within the group. And he really is a big loss to both the chimps and the staff.
Chimp society is highly political, and the death of this high-ranking primate will have ramifications for all of the animals he lived with.
For Hananya and Simon and Shamak, they've lost someone that they've grown up with because they were with him for such a long time. For individuals like Cherry, she spent a lot of her day with Tico. They were a very close pair, so she's obviously lost a very good friend. And apart from the emotional side of it, it's quite a change for that chimp group as well. The second ranking male is very important in the hierarchy and how the politics work. So for them, it's a massive deal to lose a second ranking chimp.
In recent times, the care staff had become concerned that Tico was intending to challenge Hananya for the leadership. This led to his old pal, now the dominant male, regularly putting him in his place. As a result, there were often tensions in the group.
I think it's a bit of a complicated loss for Hananya because they were a very close pair, and they had to be in those positions. You can't have a dominant male and a second-ranking male that aren't working well together. So Hananya was he was a bit lost for a few days because obviously he's now got the full responsibility of the group while we try and work out who's going to be the second ranker. But he's also got to deal with a group that is going through mourning, which is quite a difficult job for a male that is quite young to be a dominant male, to be honest.
The most likely chimp to step up as Hananya's number 2 is Simon. He's a very political chimp and was able to keep both Hananya and Tico on side at the same time. He's already showing signs of becoming a good second-in-command. But for now, Hananya may feel the benefit of having the threat of Tico removed, but he's still likely to feel the loss of his old friend. Over in Tuan's group, the orangutans are their usual laid-back selves. Adult male Tuan has 4 females living with him. Older ladies Ame and Roro, and teenagers Jolie and Linga. To liven things up, today they're in for a treat. The care staff work hard to enrich the lives of the primates at the park. And for their morning snack, they've made up cube feeders to amuse the orangutans. The cubes are made from rolled-up hose, bolted together and then stuffed full of food. The group have never had them before, and will have to figure out how to get to the delights inside. Jarno's in charge of distribution.
Hello, you.
And Big Boss Tuan is first up.
Tuan! Come back!
The intelligent orangutans soon get to work finding the tasty treats hidden inside. Ame gets stuck into the apples, whilst Linga feasts on more fiddly peanuts. And when Roro approaches, she makes it clear she won't be sharing them. Roro moves on to Tuan, but he's equally unobliging. Instead of hunting down the other cube feeders in the enclosure, she sits on her own for a while, looking sulky. Orangutans spend most of their waking time foraging in the wild, so this is a great way to pass the time. And with good hand dexterity, they're able to carefully remove morsels of food from the feeders. Once they've eaten, the orangs opt for another activity they excel at, chilling out. And they've all got this pastime mastered. While the grown-ups relax, the teenagers, Jolie and Linga, are a bit more active. They're great pals, and as youngsters they spent their days playing, but they're maturing fast, and play is not so high on their agendas. But today, they seem in the mood for some fun. Still young at heart, Jolie's got hold of a bedsheet to frolic with. Even turning it into a sunshade. And she's not the only one messing around. Next door at Sally's group of chimps, Rodders is getting up to his usual antics. But the easygoing orangutans have seen it all before from their excitable chimpanzee neighbours, and have become experts at tuning them out. Over at the orangutan nursery, the last few weeks have been a busy time for orphaned youngsters Rika and Bulu Mata. They've been exploring new playrooms, climbing to new heights, and even making new friends. They recently met 7-year-old Sylvester, a gentle orangutan, and a good first introduction. They now spend time together each day, and the trio have become firm friends. Eventually, Bulu and Rika will meet all the orangutans in the nursery so that they can become full-time members of the group. Today is the next major stepping stone on that journey. They're going to meet adult female Oisin.
Oh, combine you two.
Wild-born, she became part of the exotic pet trade and later lived with a family in South Africa until they asked the park to look after her when she was 13. Sylvester was born at a zoo in Spain and rejected by his mother. Oisin adopted him when they both arrived at the park in 2010. They've been together ever since. But Oisin isn't the most natural mother.
They became very close, and he was always at her side, and, you know, it's debatable who needed who more. Whenever there was a moment of upset or concern in the orang nursery, Sylvester became Oisin's security blanket.
Oisin has now got used to her new life with other orangutans, and Alison feels she's the best adult orang for Rika and Bulu to meet before being introduced to the rest of the nursery group.
It's time to meet a big adult orangutan, and you know, we're choosing Oisin because she's not a pushy mother figure. In fact, unless there's food around or some issue going down, she's sort of a hands-off type motherly figure, so it will be less intimidating. Oisin will step in and tell others off, and that's the whole purpose of being a maternal figure in the orangutan nursery. It gets the little ones used to being around big adult animals. It makes their orangutan behavior and repertoire more complete. And hopefully, you know, Oisin will be in there to help settle any disputes.
Today's the big day, and although the youngsters have been growing in confidence, they still hold on to each other for reassurance when they're a bit apprehensive. Once their feelings settled, the team open the door between the rooms. Sylvester heads straight in and hoovers up the snacks before even saying hello. While Rika and Bulu are still a little hesitant. But quickly enticed in, they're more interested in playing with Sylvester than eating. It's not long before Oisin joins them, but she ignores the youngsters and heads straight for the food. After a little bop on the head from Rika to say hello, she gives the pair a friendly sniff.
Good girl.
Then ignores them to concentrate on looking for more food. Bulu and Rika have taken meeting an adult orang face-to-face for the first time in their stride, with Oisin making it easy for them.
Oisin's responded pretty much as we expected. First of all, #1 priority, food. Babies are okay, but they're not bringing snacks or anything extra to the party, so really this is something that's going to have to develop over time. I'm just really pleased that everybody's getting on so well.
The introduction has been a success, and the team decide to open up the big playroom for all 4 orangs. Sylvester loves playing with the youngsters, and it's great for them to have an older orangutan to learn from and look up to. And hopefully he'll be like an older brother and look out for them in the future. As for laid-back Oisin, she's happy to let them play. Today's been a good step forward for Bulu and Rika. Soon they'll be able to meet the other, more boisterous members of the nursery group. At the squirrel and saki monkey enclosure, there have been 2 new recent arrivals. The 2 species of monkey live together at the park, and newcomers Chloe the saki and Azzy the squirrel monkey have both settled in well. Azzy has become good friends with elderly Samantha and likes to be close to her, but today she's in for a new adventure. She'll be heading outside for the first time. She loved the outdoors at her previous home, so the team's expecting her to revel in the new surroundings. And they're making it an extra special day. They've made jelly and ice lollies, and hidden away inside are a key part of the monkey's diet: insects.
Today we're going to be letting out Azzy, our new female squirrel monkey, for the first time. Like with all our squirrel monkeys, one of her favourite foods is live insects. She absolutely loves them, as they all do. So locusts, mealworms and waxworms, they get every day anyway, but they all really love them.
Karen unlocks the doors to the outside enclosure. First out is boisterous youngster Charlie. And he's followed closely by Samantha. But when Samantha realises Azzy isn't behind her, she heads back inside to persuade her to join them. Samantha's encouragement pays off, and eventually a very tentative Azzy follows for her first taste of the outdoor area. But it's not going to plan. As soon as she sets foot outside, she makes a dash for one of the bushes to hide. It's pretty good camouflage.
Where Azzy lived before here, she did have an outside enclosure, but it was a full cage, and this is an open-topped enclosure, so there is a difference there. But she has moved somewhere completely new, so it will take her time just to get used to it and just to adjust. She's very confident in the house now. She can get around there everywhere, but this is her first morning out, so it is just going to take her time to adapt.
While Azzy is attempting to get used to her new surroundings from the inside of the bush, her new friends get stuck into the tasty treats.
Chloe's never tried these before, so we're not sure what she thinks, but Charlie, our male squirrel monkey, absolutely adores jelly. And they all like their insects. It's whether they want to put their hands in the squishy jelly to get them.
Chloe has no problem enthusiastically plunging her hands into the sticky jelly. And she's got the hang of the ice lollies too. But elderly Jethro is set in his ways and doesn't join in the excitement. And he's still not overly impressed with newcomer Chloe. But the squirrel monkeys don't hang about. Agile Topsy likes to make a mess, while her best friend Turvy has these treats licked. The frozen delights are melting fast, and Azzy still hasn't plucked up the courage to join the others.
Charlie keeps coming over, looking in the bush, seeing where she is, and hopefully that will encourage her to come out when she's good and ready to come out.
Azzy has missed out on the jellied insects and ice lollies, but at least she's outside, albeit still in the bush.
The whole day we're going to have someone here watching her, making sure she's okay, making sure she's not panicked, keep an eye on whether she figures out for herself how to go back in. If she doesn't figure that out for herself, I think there's going to be a lot of bribery and insects used to get her back into the house tonight.
At the golden-cheeked gibbon enclosure, female Tia Nang is changing her hair colour. But she doesn't need to visit an expensive salon. It's a natural process for the young gibbon. The timing is perfect because Marina Kenyon, a leading expert on golden-cheeked gibbons, is at the park. She co-manages Dao Tien Island Rescue Centre. It's the park's sister sanctuary and was opened in 2008 to rescue and rehabilitate endangered primates of southern Vietnam before reintroducing them into the wild. Marina is keen to see how Tia Nang is progressing with an unusual transformation, her hair changing from black to blonde.
This species of gibbon, golden-cheeked gibbons, are really quite special. They're the only ones that do colour changes as they mature, as they get older.
Tia Nang lives with her mum Peanut, dad Peng Yo, and younger brother Tio. All babies are born blonde, the same colour as mum, but when aged about 1, they turn black. Males stay black, but when females reach sexual maturity, they change colour again.
Normally around 7 to 8, the young females would start to change into the yellow. So it's beautiful here that Tia Nang is actually on the right time scale. So her family unit here at Monkey World is mirroring what would naturally happen in the wild. So now that Tianang is changing colour, basically her hormones are changing, and that's triggering her colour change.
Tianang is only the second female at the park to go through both colour changes, so it's a fascinating time. She's currently halfway through her second change, and it's signalling the start of her journey to adulthood. When gibbons reach sexual maturity, it's usually time for them to leave mum and dad and start their own families.
The colour change takes around a year, and then after that I've seen the daughters blonde in the family unit for up to 2 years. But during that time you can see quite a lot of things changing. Sometimes daughter will be next to mum, other days daughter's 100 metres looking a bit nervous. So mum is slowly starting to push herself away, and what Tianang needs to do is to be clever and actually just be able to read her mum's signs and know when to come close and when not to come close. And that's really important for any education, learning your social skills of how to interact in a family unit.
At the moment, Peanut loves having her daughter around, so only time will tell how long Tianang can stay once her colour change is complete.
It all depends on Peanut. Some gibbons are more tolerant and laid back, some gibbons aren't.
So far, Tianang is doing all the right things, and the mother and daughter relationship is secure. But once she's mature and ready for independence, she could be a potential candidate to move to the park's sister sanctuary in Vietnam. And one day, she may even make it into the wild.
Physically, and on top of that, behaviourally, because she's been brought up in trees. I would love, when Peanut decides that her daughter has learnt enough and it's time for her to go and find her own male, I would love for her to come to Vietnam because she's actually a Class A candidate. And it would be really, really good to see if a gibbon born in the West, here in England, can actually make it back to Vietnam and go back to the wild and survive.
Next time on Monkey Life, newly arrived Capuchin Dino comes face to face with a new phenomenon: flirty females.
Obviously, he's a bit wary. I think it's new. We don't know that he's met females in the past.
And woolly monkey Paolo begins to make his mark as the newly promoted dominant male.